Cade Cowell has emerged as one of the top U.S. soccer prospects in 2021, and today we have an interview with Cade Cowell himself. Hi, if you're new here, I'm Filippo, and welcome to Tactical Manager TV. In today's interview, Cade Cowell will talk about what he learned this season, the ups and downs, going to address U.S. men's national team, the possibility of playing for L3, and also talk about whether or not he wants to move abroad, what are his plans for the future, and what he's working on his game, along with much more. With that said, everyone, don't forget that Cade Cowell does have the best hair in MLS according to USMNT Twitter. And USMNT Twitter does get a lot right, does get a lot wrong, but this one, there's no denial. They got it right. Now, before we start, don't forget to hit that like button. I won't be requesting during the video. It's a great way to show us that you like this type of content and we can bring more players to the channel. With that said, let's bring in Cade Cowell. All right, everyone, welcome to Tactical Manager TV. And Cade, thank you very much for taking the time here to be with us. All right, so we're going to jump in right to it. The first thing I want to talk about, you had a pretty good season here with ups and downs, of course, especially at your age. You were 17 throughout the season. Now you're 18, turning in October. 5 goals, 5 assists. What would you say were maybe lessons you learned in this professional season at San Jose with a lot of ups and downs at your age?
Definitely just I started off really well. And, I think the biggest lesson was just you got to stay. It's not like I got cocky or anything, but just keep that level head, just keep working hard. It's things were going good and you start to think that they're always going to be good. Throughout the whole season, I thought I was just going to have the best season ever. And then all of a sudden I was 3-4 months, I couldn't score a goal or get an assist. So it was just something about keeping that level, just mindset of you don't have to go out there and score every game. You don't have to do the best thing in the world. You don't have to be an all-star every game. It's just do the little things right. And that's what I tried focusing at the end of the season, and it happened.
Yeah, you are right, because you got Player of the Week in one of the early weeks. You got Player of the Week. I remember you had a very hot start, then it went down, then it went up, and we saw that actually with a lot of young players in the league. So it wasn't something out of the normal, right? And I'm assuming one of your goals for next season might be consistency. Then you would say,
yeah. Definitely.
So is there any player in the team that helped you through this process at San Jose Earthquakes? Any veteran or even maybe young player as well?
We're a very open team, very close to each other. So definitely I always say Wando, because Wando always goes above and beyond. Shea Salinas is also someone who goes above and beyond. Christian Espinoza is always helping me. We have all of our attackers, because we get together in a couple of days. Even just they always come up, and even defenders help me with what they see is if I was running up on a defender, what they would do and stuff like that. But everyone helps me.
And with that said, to wrap up part of this first season is now you're in the off season and you're going to come in soon to the next season in MLS. Based on what you saw from your game this season and studying your season, is there any aspects of your games that you are looking to improve in the off season for next year, besides the physicality, because you bodied a few players here and there during the season, but what are you looking to improve in the short term, at least? The long term, obviously, the answer is always everything. But short term, what are you looking into improve?
Right now, I'm trying to work on dribbling in tight spaces. So just going back to basics, going through some cones right now. I'm trying to, what do we have, a month before I got to go back. So just trying to do some little things, because my touch has always never been where it should be. And definitely I just want to improve that. That's the biggest thing I always try and focus on. And then obviously finishing. I want to score more goals next year, and I just need to practice on finishing in tight spaces.
I think it's interesting that one thing is what you mentioned is something we notice, and I love to hear the fact that it's something you are working on. You're recognizing and working on it. And also as an 18-year-old, many people that were giving up on, for example, Vinicius Jr. at Real Madrid at age 18, and I'm not comparing you guys or anything by any means, but Vinicius Jr. worked on his touch, worked on his finishing, worked on his dribbling, and look at the season he's having at age 21. So it's actually very impressive that in your age, you're already recognizing certain aspects of your game, and probably without anyone even telling you at this point. By the way, I don't know if you know this. Did you know that Twitter has chosen you as the best hair in MLS? Did you know that?
Really? That's cool. That's a cool accomplishment. My hair's kind of crazy right now. I went for a run this morning, so
I had to tell you that because because they've been saying this for months. And then yesterday I just announced like, hey guys, we're going to have an interview with someone. And I'm going to give you guys a hint based on what I saw in the past. It's the best hair in MLS. And then most of the guesses were Cade Cowell.
That's cool.
Also, one thing I wanted to ask you here, because we made a player bio video about you a couple months back, and the person that helped me make it, you probably know, it was your dad. He helped me with some information that I needed, along with something I knew. And he showed us how, when you were younger, you had the talent to go towards any sport almost here in the U.S., right? And you had different opportunities too. You, Cade Cowell specifically, why did you go towards soccer specifically? Hearing it from you.
Honestly, I played it my whole life. It was like the youngest sport that I played baseball growing up. I've always wanted to play football. I still want to play football. So that's always a thing. But really, it was just something I stuck with. And my dad said I can never play football until high school. So I was always waiting until high school, and then I ended up signing my like I knew I was gonna sign before I went to high school. So I went to online school. So I really never went to high school, and then football kind of was never an option. So yeah, that's really why I chose soccer. It kind of was just like I was playing and I stuck with it, and then I had a really good season, and then I kind of knew that I was going to be a pro. So that's kind of how it was. Kind of weird.
Yeah, it was more of it was kind of just like essentially destiny then. It just showed up the opportunity.
Yeah.
Because I know your dad is a big football guy, right? He played in college.
Yeah.
And, so I would assume that would be the so say thank you to him for not pushing you
exactly.
to football.
Exactly.
So this is a quick question now. You've been playing as a center forward. You've been playing as a winger. Long term, what do you see yourself and why? Or both, maybe?
I always I'm so I don't have an answer. Like one month I'll be like, oh, I'm a 9. And then I'll play wing one game, and then I just have an amazing game at wing. I'm like, oh, I'm so much better at winger. And then it's I play wing for a month, and then I just go back and forth. So honestly, right now, I have no idea what I'll be in the future. Who knows? Maybe I'll be a right back or something.
No.
I honestly have no idea.
Hopefully not a right back, but I think I personally like when you play on the wing mostly. When I see the wing, the dangerous crosses, all the pace you have and physicality to push and make those runs down the lane. But yeah, and I also saw in an interview that I think it was with Transfermarkt that you said that you see yourself in similarities, or at least where you look your game towards how Mbappe plays at times. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he does play as a center forward as well, but drifting wide, using his pace quite a bit. Next question, Cade, here. So Cade, a couple months ago, there were rumors of you playing maybe for Mexico because you're eligible because of your mom's side of the family, I believe. And you obviously you are eligible for both. Is there any doubt in your mind of what national team you want to represent? Is it something you even want to talk about here? Or is it something you're open to? You're very young, and a lot of times when we bring young players here, they always leave their future open. But is there a national team that you have in mind?
Really, I mean, I've always played for US. I got invited to a couple Mexican camps about a month back, and there was one during the season, so I couldn't leave. It's kind of close to we were trying to make playoffs and all that, and then so it's just there's always I keep in mind I always would like to play for Mexico, and I also would like to play for US. So it's really I just, if it comes down to it, if I never get a chance with US or never get a chance with Mexico, it's kind of hopefully one or the other type of thing. But really just keeping an open mind and just looking at everything. That's the best option for me.
Yeah, at the young age, that's normally the best route to go towards. You want to see because I mean, you have ties to both countries, so you want to essentially pick whatever is best for your career as well. And
exactly.
If there's two options, then maybe the weight of the country that you want to represent more might play a role as well, as it happened to many different players in a recent past right now this year. So that was just pretty quick. I want to talk about the Gold Cup, because during the Gold Cup, you came in and you trained with the team for a week, roughly. You were there for a couple of days.
It was a little less, but yeah.
Yeah. How was that? How was the week? And it probably caught you. I know it caught you surprised, right? You weren't expecting it because the Gold Cup is going on. Then all of a sudden, Greg is calling you in right after the group stage to train with the team and possibly even join the team that went on to win Gold Cup. How was that? What happened? How did you get called up?
It was pretty nuts. Like you said, it caught me off guard. So I was at my teammate's house, JT Marszakowski and Jack Skane's house, and we were just all hanging, just chilling, and then I get a phone call, and then it says Greg Berhalter across. And then I was like, oh crap. And then he said that you were gonna come to Gold Cup and all this. So I was like super excited. He's like, you're leaving like tomorrow morning. So I went home, like packed my bags, got ready, and then the next morning, Chris Leach, like our GM now, he was saying like, he kind of gave me the bad news. He was like, you're only gonna stay like if Paul Arriola ends up being hurt, like can't go no longer. So, but Greg never told me that. So it was like, I was like, oh okay, maybe like I don't know what's going on. So I got there, I trained 2 or 3 days, and then Greg told me the last day that Paul was good to go. So then I just went home. But like the trainings were like super good, super high intensity. It was like cool to be around all those guys when I was just watching them like the first couple games in the Gold Cup, and then they go on to win the final. So I mean, it was cool to like go train with them and be with them and see how like a men's national team like camp, or what would you call that? Like a
Yeah,
full
U.S.
type
Men's
of,
National Team camp, Gold Cup camp,
yeah,
maybe Gold
Gold
Cup
Cup
camp.
camp. Like it was really cool.
I think also the recognition, right? That means if Poriola was out, you were the next guy in the list right there for Greg. So the
Yeah,
recognition of that at your age, it's
it's
something.
pretty cool.
It's special. Yeah. So
Yeah,
you were there, and Poriola was healthy after that. I think he had a hamstring injury at the time.
yeah.
Now, another question here is, and I'm gonna want you to maybe draw parallels on maybe even the training, because I know the U20 camp that you were a part of, it was a little confusing because you guys have been played before together and you just got together and went right to a game against Brazil. And we saw the ups and downs. And then we saw you bounce back, especially you with Diego Luna against Mexico. You had a much better performance against Mexico that game, playing a key role on the goal, kind of like decking the Mexican player out of the field almost. but, but how was that camp? And then I want you maybe to see if there were any similarities in regards to training. It was Mike Vadas, I believe, the coach. If maybe the training sessions were similar to Greg Berhalter, because I think Greg definitely had an influence in that camp to try to build off of it. What happened in the
Uh huh.
U20 camp? How was it?
I mean, yeah, like you said, like it was our first time coming together in like 2 years. All the players. The first game was very rough. I mean, as my performance and everything, like I was dribbling out of bounds. Like I don't know what was going on. It was just a rough game for everyone. And then just trainings were just like trying to like not like lose the tournament off of something like that. Like we can bounce back and just kind of like stay positive. Like watched a little bit of film on it. Mikey coached us a bit on it, and it was kind of that's it. Like we were done with that game. So then there's Colombia and the Mexico. So the trainings were good. They were short and Mikey always like to say short and sharp. So they were pretty like not long or not very hard because we played every 2 or 3 days. So it was pretty like low intensity on that type of stuff. But other than that, it was pretty good. It was a fun experience. I think we're gonna have a camp coming up soon, so that'll be fun. And then
Yeah,
qualifiers, so it'll be really good group.
and I know, I mean, we have the December camp as well. At the time of this recording, the roster hasn't come out. There's a possibility you could be there. There's going to be a January camp, I think, for MLS players, which as of now, you still are an MLS player. We're going to talk about that very soon. So you could be into those camps too, the senior squad. It's good to get those two experiences. And based on the way you bodied the Mexican player in that game, I think you don't want to play for Mexico, Cade. I think you made your statement right.
Yeah, I think that guy would be pretty mad if I went with him.
Yeah, I don't think that guy wants to be your teammates. I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, I wouldn't be. But yeah, regardless of that, I think this year has been pretty good for you overall, wouldn't you say? The experience of the United
Yeah,
States,
it was
MLS, you made an
cool. Yeah,
impact in MLS at such a young age. I think it's been a pretty good year, right?
yeah, I would say that.
Yeah. Now, going on to what I just mentioned about MLS, your future in MLS right now. Obviously, at your age and doing what you're doing, you're going to drive interest from Europe. And you definitely, even if you didn't get an offer, there's definitely clubs watching you. You know it or not, there's definitely clubs scouting and looking like many players in MLS that are successful at age 18, 19. Has there been any offers that you know of? Are there any clubs you're talking to? Is there anything you want to talk, or your plan right now is to stay in MLS?
Honestly, I have no idea. My dad knows more than I do on this stuff, and my agent obviously. I started focusing about that stuff in the beginning, like oh, like I'm doing good, like I'm gonna go to Europe, stuff like that, and I just went downhill. And I'll never make that mistake again of like getting above myself and just like I'm just gonna focus on what I have, and what I need to do is have a great season next season. And if something happens after that, then it happens. But I have no no teams talking to me. I don't talk to any teams. Like, I'm just focused on my next couple years at Quakes, and if anything happens before that, then that's how it's going to be.
Yeah, I expected that answer too.
Yeah.
Focus. So you think that maybe the rumors, because there was a point I think early in the season they started to throw a lot of rumors about you going to Europe.
Yeah.
You think that kind of like took you off your focus for a little bit in mid-season? That could have
I think so.
affected
I
a
mean,
little bit.
something happened because just kind of what happens with a young player, I guess. Not to make excuses for any of us, but it's hard to stay at the top the whole time. No one does that. So
Yeah.
I'm just gonna try my best to have something close to that next season and just keep
Good.
focusing game by game.
So good news for the San Jose Earthquake fans here, because you kind of seem like you're focused on them now. Obviously, you never know, an offer could show up in January, and if it's good for your career financially and career wise, there's no reason for you not to take it. But doesn't seem like you're in no rush to go to Europe.
Exactly. All right.
Branching off that right there, is there a specific, not in the near term, but is there a specific league as a kid when you were growing up playing soccer, and I'm assuming you watch soccer, a league that you think you would fit into, that you like? And is there a club that you always dreamed of playing one day if the opportunity comes up, or a club that you were a fan of as a kid?
I would say, like, for me, the Premier League is the best league for me. Like, I think it's a lot of fast players, a lot of big, like, strong players. So I think, like, I can see myself fit into there one day, and that's my goal, is to be in the Premier League. But I mean, any team, any league, really, that'd be an awesome like dream for me. But I just, like, if I had to choose, I think Premier League, because I can see, and I don't really have a team. Like, I'm a fan of, like, Ronaldo, from his, like, just how his mentality is. Like, he's gonna go out there and he's gonna score every game. Just his mindset, really, because that's really what I want to focus on, and, like, have a mindset like that one day. Because it's not easy to think like that, and to think like how he's just a champion, he's just a winner. But other than that, like, I just watch players, and that's really it.
Yeah, and you got to remember too, Ronaldo, he built that mindset, right? When he was young, well, I mean, I'm not that much older than you, by the way, but I am older. And I watched Ronaldo early on, and he struggled in the beginning. He showed sparks of talent, but he was extremely inconsistent. He was benched by Sir Alex Ferguson. He was going to leave even Manchester United at one point, but he just kept pushing himself, and then the rest, I mean, is history here. And man, I was hoping you would just go on the most political way to go forward. It's just like, yeah, my club is San Jose Earthquakes. But yeah, obviously it is your club right now as a professional player. This is the club you're defending. But Cade, overall in the interview, this is everything I wanted to talk about. The one thing I want to ask you before you go to, because I skipped this on the USA versus L3 part. I don't know how I skipped this, because people are also interested a little bit on the player's personal life. You do have ties with Mexico, as you said, through your mom. Have you been to Mexico quite a bit? How was your childhood in regards to that, or you stayed a lot in the U.S.?
Yeah, I've been to Mexico twice, and it was for U.S. like being in the U.S. team. So that's really the only time I've ever been to Mexico. And my mom, I don't even know if, like, because she was born here, but has, like, her dad, my grandpa was born in Mexico, and, like, they've been in, like, the United States since. So really, like, we don't have like I go, like, every holiday to Mexico to visit, like, family over there. Like, pretty much my family's moved over here now, so we don't really go to Mexico at all as a family.
Got it. That was something I was wondering too, because I was born in Brazil and then moved here at an early age and back to Brazil and back first. So I would go sometimes to Brazil to visit family. That's what I was wondering, if you had something similar to that too. But yeah, that does it for the interview. Thank you very much, Cade, once again. And I'm going to tell you one thing. I'm very impressed with how mature you are, especially, well, actually, you're mature for just a person in general, but especially for someone that's just 18. Congratulations on that. Thank you again, also, Cade Cowell, your dad, for helping us with the interview and everything. Thank you very much, Cade.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Have a good one.